a contractor or a partnership so that at least we can build that community hall. So maybe what I'll focus more in this period, maybe is to do the groundbreaking so that at least we can also invite other players to support this thing. So to me, it's an achievement because the community was something which benefits the community because it's something which is cheaper if it is a community hall from council. Or at least other people, when they want to do their weddings or even meetings, it will be easier for them, even churches. So to me, it's an achievement because people have been complaining about that issue. And that's the same thing. Then the other issue is the issue of Sendosa and water. There's serious improvement of water in Sendosa and other areas around the neighboring area. Reason being, when I was elected, my first task was to find a solution to the water crisis. So what I done, I invited all stakeholders, all residents, Mayor Gomba by then, other engineers, director of works, director of water. We had a meeting in this office to come up with a solution. There were suggestions, and we implement each suggestion, and we are glad. After towards 2020, before even my recall, there was an improvement in Sendosa. That issue again, reasons are happy because it took about 17 years for them without the water, but it was implemented within 1 year, 6 months. Then the other issue of COVID, for 2 years, people have been suffering of COVID because government failed to give some questioning to vendors, informal traders, as their promise. So bless the community, the church, the business, and they give us many food stuff, including the hampers. So we donated those hampers to the elderly, people living with disability, also and so forth. And we are glad during that period, about nearly 5,000 households benefited from that program, which that we did, although that program benefited also 141 in Maupra. So these are some of the issues. Then the other issue, the issue of dam clearance. When I was elected, there was a lot of dam in the community. So during that period between 2018 and 2019, I had the serious cleanup campaigns, which I invited stakeholders, the residents, and also other bodies in the council. And we managed to clear all dam sites. Although right now they have still resurfaced, but obviously because there was no representation in the council. So there are many achievements, which also include even employment. Because of serious employment, there's serious drug abuse, people, especially the youth. So I engaged the business in our community. You understand, most of the people, they've turned their houses into commercial purposes. So they are now running businesses. There's also another Bluffing Industrial Park, which is also in the community. We wrote a letter to all the CEOs and general managers to say, if you have an employment opportunity, can you consider the local? And they were glad. During that period, almost nearly 80 youth benefited from that thing, including those from civil sector, from the guards security. So these are the issues that I achieved during that period. So when I want to finish this term, because to me it's more like a promise from the former, but obviously I will be coming this time around with a new jacket, with a new strategy, new party, or even new vision, because we're now putting it on the center. So I expect during that period of 1 year, 3 months, I should be able to implement all the remaining areas. Which also includes the issue of road maintenance, street lights, and so forth. But the issue of road maintenance is a very complex issue. It's very serious because money is being collected by Znara instead of arrest supposed to repair roads. So obviously there is need for us to engage at the level of government and also Znara, at least we expose certain things because we cannot take responsibility to the things we are not supposed to take responsibility. So if it means Znara should take over the vehicle license and also even the road maintenance, be it. And on the issue of the street light, you are aware, CSR took over everything from council long back, and they remained, the city of Harare remained within street lights. Only street lights is the thing that we are supposed to repair as council. But this is the only thing which doesn't bring even revenue. So these are things which we also need to interrogate as we move forward. It's possible such a take over everything, but they are taking over the electricity from domestic and also from the commercial. If possible, they should take over the repair of electricity in street lights. At least they have full responsibility because there is no revenue that is coming from those street lights. So these are the issues that we need to interrogate, and the issue also of water and other issues. So there are many issues that we intend to try and solve, but obviously we cannot solve everything because of the limited time ahead of 2023.
What about the youth, Denford? You briefly touched on the youth there, but this is a youth program, so I want to delve deeper on that one. As we approach your 100 days, as we delve into your 100 days, sorry, you just started, what exactly do you have planned for the youth?
What I need to prioritize is about the issue of equipping the youth with the right skills. Mm-hmm. There are many things that we intend to do so that at least every youth can try to do something. This will limit drug abuse. This will limit even robbery cases. This will remove robbery cases. So there are many training schools. We actually embark on graduate school lessons for the youth, so that at least they can also get something to do. So this program can also be a continuation as we go towards 2023 or even moving forward. So our issue mainly will continue with the youth engagement platforms, where we seek to say what we don't want currently, because we are now with the new information, we don't want to impose the programs. Every program should come from the youth engagement. So we are going to have a youth consultative meetings in the community very soon, where we share ideas, where we present the problems, and the solutions should come from the youth. It will be our responsibility to implement those things. So this program can also be benefiting the women and so forth.
Let me hold you on the line there, so that I can translate our entire conversation for our Ndebele audience. And then when I come back to you, we're going to wrap up this conversation. Zulukandaba yebo, Zulukandaba sithanda ubonga wonke umuntu ongenayo kuhlelo lwethu labasakhulayo. Sikhuluma nje sixoxa losakhulayo uDenford Nkatsore owebandla leCCC, nguye osengukhansela ku Ward 16 eHarare West. Unqobe kukhetho lwama-by-elections, ngumuntu ongisakhulayo silayo kuhlelo. Sike sambuza, sesimbuzile izinto eziningi uDenford Nkatsore mayelana ngomkankaso wakhe njalo ukuthi yena ukhangela ukwenza izinto ezinjani ukuthuthukisa impilo zabasakhulayo, impilo zezakhamizi zonke, abasakhulayo, abantu abadala, abantu abesifazane. Yena uDenford uyasho ngempela ukuthi uthabe kakhulu ukuthi nguye onqobe kukhetho lolu, ngenxa yokuthi njengoba ibandla leCCC elikhokhelwa ngu-Advocate Nelson Chamisa bengela imali eningi, uyasho ngempela ukuthi yena i-campaign yakhe ubengela imali eningi, kodwa usekelo lwezakhamizi lumsize kakhulu ukuthi ayenelise ukunqoba kukhetho lolu, ikakhulukazi usekelo oluvela kuma-church. Ngiphinde ngambuza ngempela ukuthi njengoba nguye onqobe kukhetho lolu lwama-by-elections, kuyini akhangelela ukwenzela izakhamizi zeHarare West? Uyasho ngempela ukuthi njengoba nguye onqobe uzaqakathekisa izinto ezifana logesi, ama-street lights, ukutholakala kwamanzi, njalo ukuthi kube lenhlelo ezikhona eHarare West ezijonge ukuthuthukisa abantu abasakhulayo kanye labesifazana, ikakhulukazi nxa sisikhangela inhlelo ezilakho ukubona ukuthi abantu abasakhulayo ontanga balakho ukuthola indlela zokuziphandela ukuthi bayenelise ukwenza imali zokuziphilisa. So yikho okusanda ukusho ngumnumzana uDenford Nkatsore, nguye onqobe kukhetho lwama-by-elections at Harare West Ward 16. Koma Denford to uyakwamuri chichipete urukuro yedu ngatimbozi yainyayi nerurimi rwamai totsangane kuti makorokoto nekubudira musarudzo dzema-by-elections. Ndandichikumbira kuti muudzewo vateereri kana kuti vagari vemunharaunda yenyu kuti zvii zvamakavarongera sezvo ndimi masarudzwa kuti muve kansela.
Chokutanga vanogara munharaunda ndine zvandakavapromisa mu2018 zvinizvo zvoreva ndipedzise kufamba pake ndakandiri. Reason being ndekuti izvo my term was cut short, so pandiri kudzoka izvezvi ndiri kundopedzisa zvinhu izvozvo. Pandaicampaigna paelection ineyi handina kubvira ndapedza anything, handina kupromisa anything because ndakamupromisa in 2018 ndikadeliver zvimwe ndakadeliver. So ipapo ndakadzoka ipapo ndanga ndamulevel yekuti izvo ndikwanise kuti ndipedzise term iyoyo ndikwanise kudeliver. Ndiro ndakatodeliver panguva iyoyo. So this is kwandiri kuenda. But pane zvinhu zvakawanda zvandinoziva ndakadeliver zvinosanganisira kubvisa marara mucommunity muna 2018. Ndakadeliver zvakare zvinhu zvinosanganisira nyaya yecommunity hall. Munoziva kuti mucommunity hamuna community hall kubva kuwest kusvika kuti kumaubura hatina community hall. So it's a challenge. Marezi ndavaitaura kuti aiwa, can you help us to run a community hall? So during my term ye1 year 4 months ndakakwanisa kuita kuti pipe planning ikaapprova for community hall, and I'm really grateful. So possible tokwanisa kuita ground breaking community hall, then we look for partnership. Papane nyaya zvakare ine chekuita nema street lights nema-accidents akaitika na energy charge. I push kuti kuite ma-traffic lights kune nzvimbo dzakasiyana siyana. So this is zvakaita, and it's a continuation as we move forward. So there are many projects dzakaitika dzakaachieva by 1 year 4 months.
Mukoma Denford, mungori negore rimwe chete muri muoffice up until 2023, apo muchange muchikwikwidzwa zvekare musarudzo dzema-general elections muna 2023. Zvii zvamakatarisira kuitira vagari vemunharaunda yenyu kuitira kuti vakusarudzei zvekare apo muchange muchikwikwidzwa muna 2023?
Chekutanga ndinoona kupedzisa term. Pandinopedzisa term ndinotarisira kuti izvo pane nyaya nechekuita nemvura. Pakaimprova mvura musendosa. So kutaura ndamboita kuti sendosa yange isina mvura for 17 years. But after ndaunza mayor nemaengineer nemalocal experts tagara pameeting district office, sendosa yakawana mvura. Yakapedza kuwana mvura 2004 ikazowana mvura in 2020. So vanhu vekusendosa, those houses, especially na Tech, Trafalgar and so forth, they are really grateful because idambudziko raro aitaura even pandaikamira 2018. So dambudziko iro zvakare riri nomwe maareas andodipedzise so that at least vanhu iva vaite. So nyaya yewater, but pane nyaya zvakare inofanira iitwe, nyaya yekugadzira infrastructure yemvura. Ma-underground pipes ari kunoko. Government necouncil vakambochinja ma-underground pipes unana budiriro genora kune korera yakanyanya, but vakaignora ma-underground pipes ari kuno maseba pakafanira kuMaple. And every time patinenge tine mvura, the pump station inosupply mvura from Maple inobva paWarren Hughes pump station. As long as tine mvura chete panenge paine serious ma-based pipe anodini anoitwa maybe 10 20 pazuva. So dambudziko solution chete ndekuti izvo tinofanira kuchinja pipe replacement. Obviously we cannot do that nemarema rates, but marema rates cannot do nyaya pipe replacement. Marema rates can do maybe nyaya repair chete, but the replacement maybe need partnership or funding from other players. So nyaya iyo ndovakuisirwa at least kana kuine mvura munhu wese anenge aine mvura potofanira kuchinja all ma-underground pipes. So pane ma-issues zvakawanda even eroad nezvimwe zvinhu, but dambudziko reroad inyaya yezinhara. Tinofanira kurwisana nezinhara kuti zinhara itore full responsibility. Painotora mari yotora futi nemari kugadzira wacho or vanodzora silver rari so that we take responsibility.
Now, as we wrap up, Mr. Ngatswore, I'd like to, I guess, wrap up in English here so that everybody understands what you're saying. One thing you've highlighted throughout this conversation is the power of the citizens or the power of residents in ensuring that if they really want a candidate, they can make sure that that candidate is successful, especially considering the campaign that you ran with a very minimum budget. What words do you have for the youth who are yet to register to vote, especially looking at the fact that we're now focusing on 2023? What words would you have for the youth and I guess your residents who are going to be supporting you again in 2023?
Bliss is coming in April. We're going to have a program at Bliss to analyze voter. Some send out here. Namajanga Maple shops. Munhu wese mayouth ese madzimai ese kumachechi kumavhenda munhu wese ngarise kuvhota tikasinyika. Thank you.
Ake Zulukanda bandisandukuzwa ingxoxo engiyenze lo Denford Ngatswore osakhulayo owebandla CCC. He is the new councillor of Ward 16 Harare West. Congratulations, Mr. Ngatswore, one more time there, and congratulations to all the young people that emerged victorious and are going to be representatives in parliament and representatives in council. But Muria Zimbabwe, ingxoxo yethu, our conversation about the by-election doesn't just end here with Mr. Ngadzore. I also reached out to Nigel Hove. We've had him on the show. He's a friend of the show, speaking about the by-elections. Now, Nigel Hove, for those who do not know about him, he's a youth rights activist, and he was also a polling agent at Makwekwe for these by-elections. So let's head over to a conversation that I had with Nigel, whereby he tells me more about what he saw at his polling station, and of course, his thoughts on how this by-election could be a reflection of the 2023 elections.
Ngiyabonga mfowethu Mike ungilethe ehlelweni. Siwabonile ama-by-elections sibila over the weekend, and the turnout yabantu wasn't what we expected in the political environment eZimbabwe. Besicabanga ukuthi abantu bazaphuma beyevota. Kukhanya ngani khonokho abathi ivota aphathi isikhiwo amakhiwo atsho njalo. Sokukhona soku-affecta abantu abaningi eZimbabwe, abantu abasafuni ukwenza into ze-politics. Sebekhethe ukuthi bezihlalele bebuyele. Yikho kwenzakale nge-weekend leyi. Kodwa kulamanye ama-factors a-affecte i-by-election leyi. Okunye ikhonokho ukuthi even lo mkhathi, ngenxa yokukhayela umkhathi, izulu belisina kakhulu nge-weekend. So abantu vele bahle bakhetha ukuhlalela endlini. And then enye challenge ebikhona ukuthi iZEC ayisazanga ya-inform abantu ukuthi abantu abaregister after 20 November 2020 ade bengakwanisi ukuthi be-participate kuma-by-elections lawo. So mbone ukuthi eliningi especially youth bebisebenza endlini besithi iZEC batshela ukuthi abasoze bekwanisa ukuvota and abavotanga ngoba abaningi baregister last year. So ama-by-elections I think ade befuna iZEC ade ifuna abantu abaregister before 20 November 2020, which was a big disappointment, especially for thina labanye amanye amabandla akade sizamile ukumobilize ama-youth ukuthi evote. Even ama-NGOs lawo I think ayasebenza kakhulu ukuthi ezama ukuthi especially intanga ikwanisa ukuparticipate kuma-by-elections.
Hayi, siyabonga Nigel ngokungena kuhlelo lwethu labasakhulayo kanye namazwi akho. Uthintile udaba oluqhakathekile ngempela, udaba lolwazi emayelana ngohlelo lokuvota. Ubona ngani uZulu sokumele aqhakathekise inhlelo lezi na, ikakhulukazi njengoba sesilungiselela ukhetho luka 2023?
I think i-challenge ekhona kithi lapha eZimbabwe ukuthi abantu abaningi abala ulwazi, i-voter education ayikho. Over the weekend, I also witnessed a lot of people being turned away because they thought their ward was voting, whereas it wasn't. For instance, go at 29, bring a by-election. By-election, we go at 18. So we told them to go at 29, and we go at 18 a city of no vote. So there's a lot of voter education which needs to be done, especially I think our political parties must be helped by even IZEC and then Lama NGOs. Actually, everyone also Zimbabwe must all indaba ye-voter education, indaba zama-elections, kumele zama ukuphathisa uZulu, ukuthi zama ukufundisa uZulu, because abantu abaningi in terms of even ukuthi irole ka-MP ikuyini, irole ka-councillor ikuyini, abantu abaningi abakwazi bafuna ukuhamba besiyavota nxa bekwazi ukuthi uvotwa nini lokuthi by-election inini. So there are so many loopholes in the system here. Our people don't even know what they are voting for. One, our people don't even know the processes or what ZEC is supposed to do. People don't even know. So there's a lot of, I think the government has to roll out a massive voter education program before even 2023, so that we have free and fair and credible elections. It's pointless to have elections. I think it was about the census quotas we are close to 15 million. So I told about voting or which is a big hindrance. Voter over and over again. People are loyal to political parties, people are loyal to certain individuals. So I think if we were to see real change in Zimbabwe, we need our people to be educated, especially town. What's more, we've got a serious problem. People don't know, and it's going to really affect 2023 as well.
Nigel, what exactly were your thoughts on ukuphatheka kwabatsha abantu abasakhulayo kukhetho olusanda ukudlula ukhetho lwama-by-elections?
Well, like I said previously, a lot of young people were turned away, so a lot of young people did not participate. For instance, I was a polling agent, Makwekwe, Ward 18, and what I witnessed was very disappointing. I think I saw less than 20 young people coming to vote. The majority was the elderly. We had about the polling station with about 6 assisted voters. Yeah, people who are around 80, 90 years old. So it's really disappointing for young people not to participate. Youth after 2018, go to Angwabona, Ward 18. Ward 18, there were 900 and something registered voters who polling station Mkhali A. Who were 176, which means the 48 was less than 40%, I think. It's really disappointing because people didn't turn up and a lot of young people didn't turn up. Those who were there, even the polling agents, it's really disappointing over I'm born my youth in Ghana politics, and I think women scooters in ama youth mina njengamnyakhuthaza ama youth ukuthi eqalise ukuparticipate endabeni ze-politics, even ungene kulokuzeni ungene kuma-civic organization ube yi-observer nxa ungafuna ukungena ku-politics. Nxa ufuna ukungena ku-politics ngena kuma-structures ama-party. Sibone lathi ama-youth esenza something ku-politics ngoba ngikubone kuma-by-elections ama-youth ebengekho, and I think la ama-youth ebengakwazi ukuthi ama-by-elections yikuyini. Sesibuyela futhi endabeni ye-voter education.
Now, Nigel, lapha bengicela ukuthi uphendule ngesingisi so that everybody understands. When we were watching the rallies held by Advocate Nelson Chamisa, held by President Emerson Mnangagwa, and the candidates themselves that were competing in the by-elections, we were seeing a large turnout of people at these rallies. However, you and other polling agents have highlighted one thing, is that the turnout of voters was very low. Tell us, what exactly happened to the people?
Well, when we look at what's on the ground, and I think what I can say is the political landscape is different on social media. It's also different on the ground. When we talk about grassroots, the people who actually go and vote are not the people you see in rallies. Sometimes people just go to rallies to see the leader of a certain political party, but that does not mean those people in the rallies are the people who are going to participate in the voting process. And then in terms of voter apathy, a lot of people, especially this side in Machiavelli, I think most people have given up in politics. And I think it's high time as political parties, as political leaders to try and reignite the fire in people so that people participate in this important process, the electoral process, because this is what we want. We want people to choose the leaders they want. We want people to choose competent leaders. So if people don't participate, we'll have a disaster in local government. We'll also have a disaster in national government because we're having the same people voting, and the same people voting for the same people who are corrupt, the same people won't deliver. So I think we really need a massive voter education program, maybe to be rolled out by the government. And we also need CSOs to also come on board. We also need churches. We also need individuals who are aware about the political landscape, who are aware about voter education and what the people need to know in terms of the information which they need to know when it comes to elections and government processes.
Now, Nigel, the by-elections have come and gone, but campaigning will obviously continue, including from people who just entered into, I guess, public office. What words of advice would you have for the youth who are going to be observing this entire period between now and the 2023 general elections?
Well, what I would say to young people, I would love to really encourage young people to participate in politics. Politics means our future. Politics is about now. Politics is about what are you going to vote for? Politics is about your hospital. Politics is about your new school. Politics is about your job. Politics is about, politics is everything. So I would love to see young people participating not only in political parties. Young people also need to be there as observers. Young people need to be there as activists, speaking out against some bad political practices in the country. And I would love to encourage youth in Mabwekwe, especially youth even in Pakos, youth from around Zimbabwe. Ngiyakwazi ukuthi istudio 7 yatholakala ezini emaphandleni. Ngifuna ukukhuthaza abantu abancane ontanga i-youth 18 to 35. Nxa ukhona uzibone ngani unefire ulomlilo phakathi kwakho enhlizweni yakho ukuthi ufuna ukubona ilizwe lakho litshintsha, ngena ku-politics, ngena ku-party. Akulanda ukuthi usapota yiphi party, kodwa ahlanganiseni amakhanda kube le unity of purpose. Sifakeni abantu abazadiliva, ayikhona ukuthi siphombe ukuvotela ukuthi le yiparty le, kumbe sivotele ukuthi ngoba kule leader le. Asikhangeleni abantu ukuthi umuntu esimfakayo umuntu yini okwaziyo ukuthi sihluphe kanjani lapha esigabeni. So ngicela ukuthi abantu abancane bengene emaphathini, silungiseni izinto kumaphathi okokuqala, and then sibe sesilungisa izinto ezigabeni zethu.
Now, Nigel, you just touched on something there that I really would like to expand on. Angibuze kancane mnumzana ukuthi ungathini to umuntu osakhulayo yena ubona ngane ezombusazwe akasifuni. Yena uthi hayi, all he wants is ukuthola umsebenzi njalo indlela zokuzithuthukisa empilweni and live in a very conducive environment. Kodwa njengokukhuthaza kwakho yena uthi indaba zombusazwe yena akasifuni. What would you say to umuntu onjalo olombono onjalo?
Ngiyabonga for umbuzo lo mfowethu Mike. Into engihlekisayo ukuthi abantu bakhala ngomsebenzi, especially thina ontanga siyakhala ngomsebenzi, sikhala ukuthi sifuna ukuthi iZimbabwe ilunge, kodwa asifuni ukuparticipate endabeni zombangazo, endabeni zepolitics. Lo muntu lo ntanga lo youth othi mina ngifuna ukungena ku-politics, awuncedi lokho. Mina ngifuna ukukutshela ukuthi ulilungelo lakho, it's your duty as a young person ukuthi ulungisise izinto njalo. Nxa ungaphomba ukuhlala ngiyeni, uphomba ukuhlala emgelweni, uphomba ukucomplaina, ungaparticipate ku-politics, ngokwakho kuza ku-affecta. Kodwa ungangena ku-politics, either way, whether uhlezi endlini uyaparticipate kumbe awuparticipate, i-politics iyaku-affect. Awusoze uthole umsebenzi nxa ungafakanga umuntu right esikhundleni. Awusoze uthole umsebenzi nxa ungaparticipate endabeni ze-constitution making process, endabeni ze-governance. Awusoze impilo yakho ayisoze ithuthuke. So ngizathi umcabango lo awulunganga nxa ungumntanga, especially nxa ungumntanga oseZimbabwe. Izinto zinzima, and siyakwazi ukuthi the root cause of our problem is our political arena, is the political field, is the political playing field. And nxa izinto zingekho right, akulanto eyalunga. Uzatshona ukhalakhala usithi mina ngiyena ku-politics. Kodwa laba ababe ku-politics bazabe lokhu bezama ukulungisa izinto. Njalo izinto zingalunga. Bona abade beku-forefront belungisisa izinto, yibo labo izinto zizabalungela futhi. So either way, whether you participate, whether you participate, i-politics iyaku-affect. Ngizatshela yena lo othi i-politics ayima-affect, ngiyakwazi baningi. So ngithanda ukuyikhuthaza ukuthi asingene ku-politics. Either way, we are participating or participate, politics will always affect you.
Well, Maria Zimbabwe, shout out there to Nigel Ndlovu, who was joining us at Lapa Gushelo Lechulabasakhulayo, Gushelo The Connection. Now, Maria Zimbabwe, as we wrap up tonight's show and reach the tail end of the show, I want to shift focus from the by-elections in Zimbabwe to Ukraine, an East European nation that is currently experiencing ongoing military aggression from their neighbor, Russia. Now, over the past month, the world's eyes have been on Ukraine, not just Africa, not just America, not just Europe, but the entire globe has been focusing on Ukraine as the East European nation is currently facing ongoing military aggression from its neighbor, Russia. Now, as this war started, and as I highlighted a couple of weeks back when we focused on the war in Ukraine, when this war started, Muria, Zimbabwe, it has impacted the lives of thousands of African students who are all based in Ukraine, who all turn to Ukraine for a better education. But now a lot of these African students, amongst them Zimbabweans, have been forced to flee the Eastern European nation in seek of safety. Now, a lot of them are still in Europe. Some are still in Ukraine, which you're going to hear more from. And some have been able to return home and are continuing their studies online. But to hear more about how this war has impacted the lives of African students, before we delve into our conversation with Tinashe Chamunorwa, who is the young person we're going to be speaking to, who managed to flee this war, let's head over to a video report that we have, whereby African students who are still in Ukraine in the midst of the war speak more on their experiences.
Lizzie Ogaji searches through her phone for an update on the war in Ukraine, hoping for positive news, but finding little to lift her hopes. Her brother's trapped in Kherson, a Ukrainian city occupied by invading Russian forces. She says he tried to escape the war-torn city this week, but was turned around by the Russian military.
I am worried, like seriously worried, because each time I tune to the television, tune to the channel, listen to seeing the headlines and the news. In short, my heart aches.
Kherson fell to Russian forces in early March, days after the invasion started, trapping hundreds of international students like Ogaji's brother in the city. For weeks, they have been living in extremely cold bomb shelters with limited access to food, medicines, and the internet. Nigerian authorities have promised to evacuate the students, but say that can only happen with a ceasefire in place. Many students have been making individual escape attempts. Jerry Kenny, who mobilized a pack of foreign nationals trapped in Kherson, just made it out.
We ran out of food, water, and I was out of cash.
Some other students escaping Kherson have received aid from non-profit groups trying to evacuate foreign nationals from the city. Danielle Onyekwere from US-based Diaspora Relief says the evacuations are risky and expensive.
Right now, we're not going off of any safe corridor. There is no humanitarian corridor as of this time. What we're going off with is just routes that we know locals have taken, that they made it. So it's still a risk on its own, but it's just like, why not try then, still stay stranded there while we're waiting on negotiations, especially if things are getting worse.
For now, Ogaji's brother remains stuck in Ukraine, but she says her daily communication with him gives her family hope.
He never gave or he never shown any negative feelings of the situation in Ukraine. So he always encouraged me. He would say, "Don't worry, sis, I will be fine."
No one knows if a ceasefire will be agreed upon anytime soon. For now, an escape attempt might be his only chance to leave Kherson. Timothy Obiezu for VOA News, Abuja, Nigeria.
You heard there from African students, Muria, Zimbabwe, speaking for themselves, talking about their experiences who are still in Ukraine amidst this ongoing Russian aggression. But now, let us head over to the conversation that I had with Tinashe Chamunorwa, who is a young Zimbabwean. We had him on the show a couple of weeks back talking, and at the time, he was still in Ukraine. Now, Tinashe has safely evacuated Ukraine and is now in South Africa. So I talked to Tinashe about his experience as he moves from one point to the other and as he fled the war. So let's hear more from Tinashe Chamunorwa.
Okay, so after that interview, I then decided to move from Ukraine because of the situation. Like, there seemed to be no changes, so I then decided to leave Ukraine. But still, my city was still safe, so I just decided to move because there were no changes, and my dean helped me to get like a private car to the border of Slovakia. So I moved to Slovakia, and then when I got to Slovakia, there were like a refugee camp, and there were like free buses that would take us to any city that we wish to go. So like everything was okay, and the people they took good care of us. And so after that, I stayed in Slovakia for like a day, and then I decided to go to Hungary because my friends were in Hungary and they were saying that Hungary is good. So then went to Hungary. There's also there was this agent that I was talking to. She was working with the ambassador, and that ambassador is like from Zim, so she's the one that helped most Zimbabweans get like free tickets from any location that should be like any safe location that should be, it Hungary, be it Romania or whatever. So yeah, when I got to Hungary, I met the people and they helped me get my ticket. So I stayed in Hungary for like 5 days because I think there were no tickets like for like those days. So I waited for like 5 days. Then after that, I left Hungary to Zim, and then from Zim, I'm now in SA. So, but the journey, everything was okay. But it's just that at the border, there were a lot of people. So yeah, it took some time. But I think only like 5 to 6 hours. But everything was okay.
Tinashe, once again, thank you so much for joining us again on the show. The last time we spoke, you were still in Ukraine. Thank God you're still alive. Thank God you're in a safe environment. I'm a little curious. Let's backtrack to when this whole thing began. What exactly motivated you to want to go study in Ukraine in the first place?
As for me, I had a brother and a friend that were studying there, and everything seemed so well for them. Like the one that motivated me to go to Ukraine right now is a doctor in the United States, and he also managed to work with the United Nations. Like he's getting paid a lot, so because of that, I was like, there are opportunities in Ukraine, so I should definitely go there. And I had also links. It was good for me to go there because other countries like Cyprus, China, a lot of people are going there, but only a few people were talking about Ukraine. So I was like, let me go and see what's in Ukraine. And yeah.
And what was your evaluation of Ukraine up until the war broke out?
Everything was okay. Like where I was staying, there's no racism, and everything was just good because my city is so quiet, and it actually managed to be in the top 5 of the most peaceful and quiet cities in Europe. So everything was good in that city, and the people are nice, our teachers are nice. Like, my program is very difficult, but the teachers that we have, they make it easy for us to understand. They understand us, they help us. You can't even notice that you're African when you're there because just like they will just be treating you like a family. And for me, everything was good. The only problem that I had is that to get an opportunity to work in Ukraine, like, just get maybe some part-time job, that one is difficult because you need to know their language very well. You need to speak Ukraine like that good, and you need to be that good. And so that's the only difficult part because you need some money to take care of yourself in case there's a family problem and all those. So that was the only difficult, but the rest, everything was good. Everything was okay.
Now, with that in mind, Tinashe, talk to us more about how this Ukraine crisis, or the war between Ukraine and Russia, has impacted your life as a young Zimbabwean who was studying in Ukraine, and of course, your studies.
So before this war, I had a lot of plans, like concerning this year, and because of this, so like changed everything, all those plans, like everything is just really messed up. Because I can't do a lot of things this year, but this way has like delayed or stopped some of those plans or things that I'm planning to do. So I've just been at a crossroad, like I don't know which way to take. Other people are transferring, other people are saying this. But as for me, I'm at a crossroad. I don't even know, like, what am I supposed to do? And fortunately for us, for now, we're back, we've started our classes, like online classes, but they're also having some problems to maintain, like, the schedule, because, you still remember about the sirens that I told you about?
Yes.
Yeah, so because of those sirens, our teachers will be forced to maybe cut the lesson because they are still in Ukraine. But we have resumed our classes, our online classes, and yeah, there's been some progress, but still, no one knows when this will end. And if you watch the news, our President Vladimir Putin is not like quitting. It's not like he's going to stop any time from now, and Ukraine is also not going to surrender. So this thing can take, sometimes war can take years, months, no one knows.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm at a crossroad because I have to give my parents a feedback of like what I want to do. I want to continue my life. Mm-hmm. And transferring, like being an undergraduate, transferring to other schools is very difficult because for maybe for us it might be easy because of this war, but if you are like somewhere safe, they'll say, at least for you, you're already in your country, everything is well for you. It's different from people that have just left Ukraine. So for me right now, it's difficult to get an opportunity out there, and there's need for a lot of money because, this thing caught us by surprise. It's not like people paying their money for anything because we've just finished paying our school fees and everything, and then this was started. So I'm at a crossroad and things are pretty tough.
Well, Maria Zimbabwe, you're hearing there from African students talking about the war in Ukraine and how it has affected their lives. Our time is up here. You just heard from African students. You heard from Tinashe Chamunorwa. I would also like to thank Danford Ngatsore, who won in the March 26 by-elections. He was a candidate for the CCC. He is the new councillor of Ward 16, Harare West. Siyabonga ngempela Danford. Sithanda ukubonga njalo uNigel Ndlovu, who was a polling agent in Makwekwe. He's a youth rights activist there. Sithanda ukubonga Nigel Ndlovu. Thank you so much, Nigel, for taking time out to be with us. Now, Muri Zimbabwe, tashuka kumakumo chilongwa chedu cha nasi sesifikile mapitsoleni ohlelo lwethu lwabasakhulayo at Mike Hove _ on Twitter and Instagram is my username. So if you're looking to chat with me, you can catch me there. Agwanelekwa namhla mthwakazo muhle Zimbabwe muhle tashika kumakumo chilongwa chedu cha nasi anokhoneka inemfaro ndini wenyu Mike Hove olevalisayo ngenjabulo. Zimbabwe muhle. Let's meet same time, same place, right here on Studio 7, Live Talk, The Connection, with your boy Mike Hove. Muri Zimbabwe. Have a good night. Got Sangane, same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.